When thinking about hue in relation to color relativity, one of the things you want to consider is this two-part process. You have the hue subtracting itself, and you also have it adding the complement. So one of the examples that's kind of presented is this idea of a red-orange. So say we have this one here, and we know from the color wheel from week 2 that this is going to be hue 15 based on the number of steps here. So the red-orange can make different changes to a color depending on what color would be in the center of that. For example, in orange, you're going to subtract those red aspects, and you're going to cause this orange to move in this direction. Basically, subtracting the red, allowing the green light to become a little bit stronger in that relationship. If you look at the RGB values, you can see that red and green are used to make the orange, and basically you're starting to give the impression of something closer to a yellow-orange. You're starting to give a hint that the yellow is there. The red orange is also adding the cyan. Now this is adding some of the green that helps in that direction. It's also adding blue. The blue really isn't changing the hue in any way. But in another way to kind of look at this, if you have this red-orange background and you went to having a red-magenta center, it again would subtract that red, but in this case it'll cause this red-magenta to go towards magenta. So basically it's depending on where the color is in relation to the neighboring color. This is always going to be the case when subtracting a hue, that when you're subtracting a hue, you're pushing it in the opposite direction of that hue. So red is subtracted from any of the oranges will cause the orange to go towards yellow. The same is true if you're subtracting yellows from any of the greens, will cause it to go towards green. So when you're subtracting, you're always pushing that central hue in the opposite direction. When you're adding a complement, it's a little bit different to think about. You often have to consider where your central hue is in relation to the complement. So in this case, say we had that red-orange background again, but instead we have, say, a blue cyan. So in this case you're going to actually go towards the complement because you're adding those components in here. So a blue cyan here, such as 210, is going to start to take on stronger aspects of cyan, moving towards hue 195 in this case. So one way to think about it is subtracting a color pushes it away from that color, where adding a complement pushes it towards that complement. Hopefully this is a little bit better. It really depends on your individual colors and how they're relating to each other. That's always the case, where magenta does not always have the same effect on a hue. It depends on where that hue is in relation to the magenta. But if there's specific questions about this, let me know. Hopefully this will clarify some of the questions about hue that are coming up.